love, what's up? Welcome to Confidently Uncomfortable. I'm your host, J.Go, health and lifestyle coach and not so regal confidence queen. Coming at you with the real, the raw, and of course, the uncomfortable. My mission is to show you that to be confident, it has absolutely nothing to do with being perfect or having it all together, and everything to do with you getting uncomfortable and pushing your limits. Thanks for joining me. Let's dive in. I don't know about y'all, but I'm coming to you from this episode feeling like I hit a wall, and I wanted to know why, and I've dug a little deeper, and now I want to share some of the biggest things I'm recognizing in myself. This episode's about protecting your energy while re-entering society, post-quarantine life, and what that can look like for you. I wanted to do this episode because a lot of you voted on it because it's something that you're dealing with. And honestly, I'm dealing with as well. I've heard it called a couple things, but the COVID come down is one I've heard of. Basically, like we're coming out of this space of, a pandemic that we'd never dealt with, social injustices that some people hadn't recognized before, and just a world that was different than maybe what we would have planned for the past year for us. And we're going back into the world and we're out doing things and we're trying a lot of different things. But one thing that a lot of us are struggling to do is actually protect our energy while going out into society. And what I mean by that is we're running ourselves ragged again. We're trying to keep up. I see so many people who do work in like a office setting or a 9-to-5, and they've been going. They've been going so hard. My nurses, my teachers, they've been going so hard with their jobs. And it's almost like there's a full burnout method, and now the world's open again and it almost doesn't feel real. I don't know about you, but if you're out in the world, part of me is like, this shit does not even feel real right now. It doesn't even feel like this is the real world. And so it's this weird, like dream-like state that I feel like I've been in for a while. And I've just been saying yes to so many things and doing all the things because it's like, well, last year I wasn't able to do this. And so if you're finding yourself in that space of like, you're dealing with the effects of burnout at your job or your career, but then you're also leaning into wanting to say yes to everything because you want to make sure you're making up for lost time, then this episode is definitely one you're going to want to listen to. I also want to remind you that you're not alone. Like I said, a lot of people voted to have this episode, and so many people have reached out with their stories. Like I said, with like teachers feeling the burnout of basically being told, hey, you need to learn how to teach in this way, and we're going to do it on the fly. Boom. They had to do that, and they've done it wonderfully, and they're fully underappreciated, but just know that you are so loved, and I'm so grateful for all of you. My medical professionals, so many of you, like nurses that I coach, and doctors, and all of you, like nurses, aides, oh my gosh, you're burnt out. I mean, you've been dealing with something that's been, insane and hard to deal with, and something that maybe you've never dealt with before when it comes to your job. And even though you have experienced all this burnout and maybe a lot of stress, we haven't dealt with it, right? So we're going from this like not dealing with the stress and the trauma of this past year and trying to just flip on a switch like, hey, okay, let's do all the things now. Let's have fun. Let's do it. And maybe part of you is having fun. It's awesome. But maybe another part of you is feeling a little bit of burnout from even doing things because we haven't taken time to slow down and heal. And both of these things are okay, but I want to kind of help you recognize this within yourself so you can figure out, what is it that I need in order to protect my energy? What is it that I need in order to be in a higher energy state, to have more energy throughout the day, to not feel so burnout or down on myself? Because there's so much pressure coming out of this pandemic. It's insane. I mean, the pressure of, in your job, I'm sure a lot of you were working a lot more than normal. And now your superiors are expecting this level of productivity to come out, right? Because that's what you did last year. So now what do you do when you reach a new goal? You got to make it a bigger goal and you got to reach higher. And it gets to a point where you're being spread too thin and there's no work-life balance because your work became your home and your home became your work and it's all together. And that's a struggle. It's a lot of pressure. And then there's this pressure with society of like, you're supposed to come out of this pandemic like this whole new person and with a banging body or whatever that even means. But I want to take that pressure off today, and I want to really help you figure out what it is that you need coming out of this. And so the first question I want to ask you is, What's something that you learned about yourself from the pandemic that you no longer care to do or put up with? You're like, nope, ever since I've learned from this over the past year, I will no longer take this. I will no longer do this. And think about that for a second. Write down whatever that was. I'd love for you to share it with me. For me, it's FOMO. Pre-pandemic J.Go, I said yes to everything. I didn't want to miss out. And now I've recognized over pandemic that I want to be more choosy with how I spend my time and energy. I have goals for myself, my life, my career, my family, and those goals, I want my environment, I want my actions, I want my mindset to match those goals and that high energy and success. So I'm being more choosy. I'm recognizing I can't be something for everyone, so I gotta be 100% me for myself first and then go from there. I want you to be choosy like this too with how you spend your time and energy. It's the reason I'm asking you the lesson you learned is I'm telling you my lesson was recognizing that FOMO is not real. Like, I don't need to have that. I need to do what's best for me. But then coming out into the real world, re-entering society, I'm finding myself wanting to say yes to everything and basically make up for lost time. And if you find yourself doing the same thing, you're not alone. So let's talk. I'm actively working on all of this, and so that's why I wanted to share with you kind of where I'm at. So I'm recognizing that I'm going through this too, so I don't expect you to be perfect with this either. One thing that's really important, I talked about being in a space that's supportive, and who you surround yourself with these next few months is going to determine whether or not you reach your full potential, you reach your goals. So if you find yourself in this space where it's very negative, people are bringing you down, there's no support, I want you to kind of find a way to either take yourself completely out of that scenario or give yourself space to be within yourself around other people that are supportive if you can't fully exit that current environment. So whether it's a job or relationship or whatever, because it's true, your environment impacts your success. And I want you to realize your full potential and recognize coming out of this and re-entering society, you, in order to reach that full potential, you have got to protect your energy. You have got to not allow other people to bring you down. I talk to my clients about this, and it's a lesson that I've learned, and a big takeaway is you want to set the temperature of the room. You don't want to be basically just taking on the energy of other people. I want you to walk into a space where you're going and already be at that level to where you are running hot. You're going in this higher energy state, this lighter state, opposed to walking into a room full of people who are very low state, very low energy, bringing you down, super negative, and then immediately it pulls you down with them, and you start to be like that. You start to think like that. But if you can start to fill yourself up, fill your cup up, before you get put in those environments, it's going to make a really big difference. It might not even be bad environments. It might just be when you start to be around people and you've gotten really good at lifting yourself up when you're by yourself, it can be hard. And sometimes maybe you're coming out of here recognizing some changes might need to happen. So I'm going to kind of go into a couple of different things and scenarios that you might be feeling post quarantine. So I talked about protecting your energy while re-entering society. So the post-quarantine come down. So there are 4 different ones I want to break down. Number 1 is post-quarantine come down. So this might be you if you realize you need more time for yourself, and it's okay. You might realize that even though you're re-entering society, you still need more you time than normal. Maybe because you've gotten more accustomed to spending time at your house more, maybe that's what you need, especially in this next season, to not constantly go out and do everything, to stay at home, to give yourself a little more self-care. Maybe there are some habits that were good habits that felt really good for you that you are losing because you're starting to do things for other people again, or you're starting to go out more. So recognize what that is first and figure it out, and then take more time for yourself. It's okay. Number 2 is the quarantine compensating. Okay. So I'm seeing this a lot. It's all I want to say is stop keeping up with the Joneses. You gotta do what's right for you. You might start to see all these people sharing on social media, like this trip they're taking or their outdoor activities or all the things they're doing. And it's bringing you right back to that state you were before quarantine, where you would compare your life to someone else's highlight reel. And you're thinking, oh, I need to do that. Like, I need to go to this new restaurant. I need to try this new thing. I need to travel here. I need to do that. And if you're finding yourself like feel insignificant when you're watching other people's stuff, I want you to, first of all, come back and take a break from that space, get out of that environment and kind of take some time for yourself. So my best thing I would recommend doing is like put your phone away and go for a walk or go out in nature or do grounding. And what I mean by grounding is like literally sit your feet in the ground, in the grass, in the dirt, and just be into the sun and just breathe in and think about, what is it that I need today? What does my highest self need? Is there anything that I want to do with my summer, with this time off, with whatever? But I want you to just do what's right for you and not just feel this pressure of having to compensate for the entire time that you weren't able to do these things, you weren't able to travel, you couldn't see friends. Now it's almost like there's this uneven balance to where you're trying to overcompensate and like say yes to everyone and do all the things and post everything and show everyone how awesome your life is. And we've been there, we've done that. Have we learned nothing from the pandemic and recognized that shit doesn't matter? I want you to do what's right for you. I want you to stop posting and doing things that you just feel like obligated to, and take some time for yourself and figure out, is this what I even want to do? And what do I actually need? And am I doing this for myself, or am I doing it to make myself feel better? And maybe what you need has nothing to do with a trip, and it has to do with you, going out and hiring a therapist or a counselor because you've been dealing with some stuff, but maybe you've been bottling it up and it's coming out again. But that quarantine's compensating. It's got to stop. You got to take time to figure out what's best for you and not do what everyone else is doing. The other one I want to hit on, number 3, is the post-pandemic pressure. Okay. I know you've seen the whole hot girl summer. Everyone is talking about basically like coming out, going into the summer, which is where we're at right now, and just being really focused on their weight. And it's like they'll make jokes about it as if like there should be guilt and shame about gaining weight. And we just went through a global pandemic. I want you to feel proud that you even got through this year and you didn't give up on yourself, that you didn't give up on your life, and that you kept going. I know it might sound simple, but it's really not, because not everyone did. And I want you to recognize that like, maybe that weight that you gained, maybe there was a lesson that had to be learned. Maybe there was something that you were going through. Maybe there's other things that you were focusing on in your life that had nothing to do with weight, and the weight came on in its own way. Maybe it's comfort weight. Maybe that was a way for you to comfort. And I'm not saying whether it's healthy or unhealthy, but I want you to take away the guilt and shame. It's just a number. It's just your weight. It doesn't define your worth. So when you're trying to go out and do things, I don't want your weight to hold you back from doing it. If you did what I said and took some time to figure out what's right for you, instead of worried about, oh my gosh, well, I can't share this on social media. What will people think if I gain that, about me gaining that weight? I promise you, people are so self-obsessed. They are not thinking about your weight. They're not thinking about those things. And the people that are, if they are, they don't matter in your life. They're not the significant ones that are going to make an impact on you. So I want you to let that go and live your life. If this pandemic has taught me anything, it's that life is short. Tomorrow is not promised. And if you allow something as trivial as the number on the scale to keep you from enjoying your life, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm all for creating healthy lifestyle change. I'm all for, sometimes weight gain does happen when we're in a state of, putting ourselves down and negativity, and it does happen, but sometimes it just happens because weight fluctuates. But if you do, instead of getting down on yourself about the number on the scale, just ask yourself, is this something that I need to recognize in my mindset? Are there things in my lifestyle that I do want to change? And if there are, that's great. Instead of shaming yourself into doing those things, whatever it is in your routine or your lifestyle, if you want to start working out more, if you want to start moving more, you want to start cooking more, or whatever it is that you want to do, see see that as like a positive thing you can start doing for yourself. See it as an act of self-love instead of an act of self-loathing and putting yourself down and punishing yourself for gaining weight over the pandemic. The pressure that I'm seeing, especially around the hot girl summer mindset, is that there's this expectation of success stories and glow ups and coming out of the pandemic feeling like better than ever, versus what I'm seeing so many people actually dealing with, which is weight gain and anxiety and overwhelm and burnout. And we're being shown, people are it's crazy how it all works together. People are compensating by posting all the highlight reels again. They're going back to doing that again because they haven't been able to. And then people are consuming that and they're still feeling that burnout and that shame and that pressure and that negativity, but then they're consuming that everyone else is so happy, but really they're just compensating for things that they were missing in their lives in the past year. And it's just this never-ending cycle of like, we're seeing each other's highlight reels, but we're not being real about the shit that we're still working through. And that like false narrative is holding us back. And so that's why I want to kind of pull back the curtain on my life and tell you like, I am still recognizing that I'm healing from this past year. I'm still recognizing that you're allowed to, celebrate the summer and celebrate your life and be happy, but still hold space for healing, still hold space for grieving, still hold space for, mourning the loss of that year and whatever that means for you. And instead of getting caught up in what we're consuming of other people's like success stories and glow ups and thinking like shaming ourselves for anything that didn't perfectly happen in our year, I want you to allow yourself space to be more than one way about your journey, to be more than one way about your road to, growth and development and feeling confident. Like some days, especially post-pandemic, you're going to feel down. Other days you might feel so confident and feel like, I am going to rock this day. Life is a roller coaster, and it's okay to allow for the room of ups and downs instead of seeing it as this like it has to be an uphill, like every single step of progress. Allow it to be more of like this up and down motion. And so think of it like, I like to think about it like an undulating wave, or like when you're trying to reach your goals, when you're working towards something, when you're coming out of a tough year and you're working towards, growth and development and reaching your goals, see it as like you're setting the temperature as if you were setting the temperature on your life. See it as like an oven. So you're setting the temperature on your oven, set it to 350, whatever, 475. We're roasting veggies. You set that temperature. And the truth is, your entire life that you've set the temperature at, it's not going to be that temperature 100% of the time, 365 days a year. Truth is, on an oven, when you're actually setting the temperature at a 475, it's hovering. It's going slightly above, slightly below, slightly above, slightly below, and it's basically hovering along that line of the temperature that you set. And so you need to recognize that like you can consciously set the temperature for your life, what you want for your life, creating a vision, using mindset, really, really having set strong intentions, but then also recognize that temperature, the actual life, so the temperature you've set's one thing, but then your actual life is going to be more of that roller coaster, more of that oven, where some days you might be on cloud 9, a little bit higher than that temperature, other times you may be a little lower, but you're never going to completely fall off if you continue to do things, then put things into your life that you know are going to help reach that potential, reach that goal, reach that temperature in your life that you've set. So allow there to be ups and downs. And instead of seeing a down in your life as like a failure and like you can never recover from that, see it as more of like, hey, this is just growth. Hey, I'm getting back up there. Hey, this is just a part of the journey. And the second that you release it as being this guilt, shame, and failure, you see it as just a part of the journey, that is where the growth happens. That's something that I want you to really recognize. And so that's the last one I want to get to is post-quarantine growth. So maybe when I asked you that question about the lesson that you learned over the past year, maybe a lot of things came up for you. Maybe you recognized a lot in yourself. Maybe you recognized a lot in the people you're around. Maybe you recognized a lot in your habits and your mindset that you really want to change, but you're at this point where you're like, I know my life's got to change. I've gotten this clarity that I need change in my life. I'm not happy with myself or my career or whatever it is, my health choices, but I'm scared to grow. There's like this level of like, I have the mindset and recognize like, hey, growth has happened. I need to grow more. And it might mean that you have to cut ties with people or have tough conversations in order to create a better mindset and environment to thrive in. Maybe you've recognized that your current habits are no longer serving you. Maybe you've recognized that your current friend group is no longer serving you in a way that's loving and supportive and uplifting and growing environment. I've talked about that in previous episodes of the growth. And I want to remind you that like if you want to thrive, if you want to create an environment to thrive in, you can't avoid having these tough conversations. You can't avoid leaving that environment, cutting those ties, because avoidance is not growth. Vulnerability is. And so there's so much strength in actually recognizing, hey, this is what I need. Hey, this is what I'm not going to take anymore. Hey, this is a conversation I need to have to where if this change doesn't happen in our lives, then there's going to be some changes going forward. And so allow that space for growth and recognize that that growth is uncomfortable. Reflect on this and remember that overall, it's not about perfection. It's about just creating progress and loving yourself in all chapters of your life. And if you're in a chapter right now where maybe you're struggling to love your body, maybe you're struggling to keep your energy up, you're feeling like you go out for one day and you hang out with people and you come home and you're sad and you're miserable and you don't know why yet. And it's okay if you're feeling that way, but start to slowly do things to prioritize yourself. Start to slowly think about what is it that I need today. If you know that it's taken a lot out of you to be super social one day, give yourself space the following day to just be home. You don't have to keep saying yes to everyone and everything. You are so worthy. So hear me out. You're worthy of taking time each week to focus on you. You're worthy of fueling your body with nutritious foods. You're worthy of setting boundaries at work with others to protect your energy. You're worthy of loving your body, mind, and soul unconditionally, and you're stronger than you think. So if you're feeling yourself hit these obstacles and they come up, and I want you to recognize that you've conquered so much over the past 365 days. Everyone has their own struggles they're working through and still working through, even if they don't show them on social media. Everyone's journey is going to look different, but I promise you, if you get so focused on your actions and mindset and you prioritize your energy instead of comparing yourself to others, that's where you're going to find true success. That's where you're going to find lasting energy and joy every single day of your life, regardless of circumstances. And I just wanted to thank you guys. So many of you have been telling me about your progress and shifts happening in your life. You've talked about episodes that you've listened to and how you've started your own business, or you've started to incorporate this or set these boundaries or have these tough conversations. Or I've gotten so many cool messages about people going on vacation and saying yes, or wearing a swimsuit, or putting themselves out there, or not worrying about having gained weight, or not being so focused on their body and really just embracing life and saying yes to that. And it warms my heart. It makes me so happy, and it reminds me of why I started this podcast. It's the community above all else. So I want you to keep sharing this podcast and tag me in your screenshots and tell me your stories. And I also want to continue to deepen this community. And so that is why I actually am hosting my Go retreat in September 17th through 19th. I'm hosting my women's beach retreat in Charleston, South Carolina at the Isle of Palms Wild Dunes Resort. I'm doing a weekend-long event where you are going to have a combination of a wellness retreat mixed with think about it like a bachelorette party you actually want to go to. Like you're feeling really good. You're not ending the weekend hungover, but you still had a couple drinks. You had fun. You went to the pool. You went to the beach. But not only that, but you are leaving the event with a vision of what you want for your life. You're leaving for the event feeling empowered, knowing that I can accomplish these goals. So if you've been feeling this burnout, if you've been feeling this level of like, I need to level up in my life, but I don't really know where to start. Or maybe you're like, I need to be in a new environment that's supportive. I need to meet new people. I need to bring the people that I know are the most supportive in my life and then connect with even more people from there. Then this Go retreat is for you. If you've been feeling that calling to create change in your life in a positive way, but you don't know where to start, you need to be here at this event. So it's September 17th through 19th. I'm doing a bonus where if you listen to this episode, tell me you listen to this episode and sign up for the retreat, get your ticket, you're going to get my Training Naked 6-week bodyweight workout program as well as my 5K training program for free in no extra cost to you, just for getting that ticket to the Go retreat. I'm so pumped for this event. I can't even tell you. I've been wanting to do it for a couple years, but pandemic had other plans. But I just believe in God, the universe's timing, and I think that you were meant to hear this episode, really think about it, go to jgofitlife.com/retreat and sign up for the event. And that is why the event got put back off, because you were meant to be there and it needed to happen in the right timing for you. So I appreciate you listening to this episode. Let me know your biggest takeaway. I would love to hear from you. Be sure to share this to someone if you know that they are, looking to grow. Be sure to share this retreat if you're interested in who would want to go with you. But also don't be afraid to go by yourself. I have a couple people who are clients. They're going to be there. I have some people who have never met anyone before, but they're still going there. So this is all about becoming confidently uncomfortable and ending the weekend feeling more empowered and capable than ever. So I will see you soon. Make sure you click that link in my show notes to get access to the retreat, and I'll see you next time. Thanks again for listening to Confidently Uncomfortable. I love being able to connect with you here and honestly don't want it to end. So head over to my Facebook group, Body Confident Blueprint, and be sure to follow me on Insta at J.Go Fitlife. Also, if you're ready to get real confidently uncomfortable, go leave this podcast a 5-star review and email me the review screenshot, support@jgofit360.com, for a chance to win a free 30-minute fitness audit and goal setting session. I appreciate your support. See you next time.